up, guys? My name is Sawyer Hartman, and whether you're an amateur photographer or even a seasoned professional, there's a massive chance that right now you're probably shooting on a digital camera. Yeah, well, so was I, along with probably every other photographer you've ever followed. But today I'm here to tell you why I've gone back to shooting on film and why I think you should as well. The magic of film. I genuinely cannot wait to hear your thoughts at the end of this video, so at any time if you want to say something, leave it in a comment, but let's just kick off today's episode. So, film. What do I know about film? What does anybody under the age of 40 really know about film? Well, my story actually started with film when I was 10 years old in the year of 2000, but when I was 10, my mom gave me my first real film camera. It was a Canon Rebel X SLR film camera. Kind of the film version of the massive 1DX I carry today. But I distinctively remember shooting on film. It was actually a little scary. I didn't want to mess up my settings or my shots because I couldn't afford to get more film. I was 10 years old. But settings aside, I do remember the photos I took that actually turned out, and that is important because I don't remember anything else from being 10 years old. I remember the photographs. Because there is a magic to film that we have lost shooting on digital cameras. So without further ado, I'm going to hop right into the reasons I think shooting on film is so damn important. Thumbs up if you've ever shot on a film camera and you already know what I'm talking about. Now there's tons of different film cameras. There's point and shoots, there's SLRs, there's Polaroids like this one. There is literally every type of film because film had been around almost 90 years, actually a little bit longer, before we actually replaced it with digital. And that brings us to point number one. Film was perfect, but it was expensive. And now with digital cameras, we're constantly trying to reproduce the look of film without just shooting on film. Think about that for a second. Apps like Visco, that hipster cam thing, and almost all of the things that I'm currently doing in Lightroom are all about trying to get back to a film look in my photographs. Even in movies, you look at someone like Christopher Nolan who shoots Inception, he shot Dunkirk, Batman, he shot all of those on film. Why? Because film is better than digital. It has better color, it has better dynamic range, and it has a distinctive look and feel that we know to be movies and memories. We've grown up watching films shot on film. They're called films. We've also grown up looking through our parents' photo albums, seeing these pictures of our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. We're not worried about megapixel count, we're worried about the actual photograph. And all of those photographs we have of our departed grandparents or our truly loved parents, those photographs are perfect to us. Those photos capture who they were and we hold them dear. We don't care how they're edited, we don't care about anything else other than it's real. You can ask any seasoned older photographer what it's like shooting on digital rather than film. He'll probably tell you digital's a little more reliable, you can take more photos, you can check your work while you're shooting to be able to adapt things and change. But he'll also probably tell you that film has a very distinct look and for some reason we shoot differently on film. And that's very important. Now the second advantage of shooting film over digital is it actually slows down your process of taking a photograph when you're shooting in film. Now this might not seem like the best thing in the world for the photographer who's rushing around shooting everything, but for people who are in the market to capture actual memories at the perfect settings to make a photograph that can live forever, it's really good that we have to slow down. Now because there's so many different types of film cameras, there's cameras that shoot in automatic, there's cameras that shoot in manual, there's cameras that shoot autofocus, not autofocus. But the cool thing about film is because every single photograph costs you money, your photography actually starts to evolve because you don't want to waste money or actual moments, and getting your settings wrong results in both of those things when you're shooting in film. The stakes are much higher. So you take your time, you get your settings right, and you try. Current digital cameras kind of lack in this category because you can just shoot a ton of different photos and then when you get home, choose the best one. This is lazy and extremely sloppy as a photographer. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would ask for something for Christmas and then the couple weeks leading up to Christmas, you'd be really excited wondering if it's under the tree. You'd be shaking your package, you'd be like sizing it up, you'd be dropping hints to your parents that you really, really wanted it. That excitement that you had as a kid, waiting to see if you got the toy you wanted or waiting to see if Santa was gonna come. That is a joy that a lot of photographers today will never know because all of their digital pictures come out instantly. They take a picture, they look at the screen, they see everything that's wrong with it, and they change it and try again. When you're shooting on film, you actually spend a lot more time selecting your framing, getting your settings, make sure you're in focus. You take a shot and you have no clue if it turned out. You shoot and walk away. You shoot and walk away. This teaches us two things. One, it teaches us patience for photography because good photos take time. And secondly, and most important to me, it also teaches us to capture the memory in our own head so that we can hold that moment for us in case the photo doesn't turn out. There's something special. No moment is real until it's yours. And that's why when you go pick up your roll of film from wherever you're getting it developed and you open up the envelope and start looking through your photos, there's an element of surprise and extreme joy when you realize one of the photos you took came out exactly like you saw it in your head. That's a feeling that I actually never got with digital, and it wasn't until I went back to shooting film that I was like, what the have I been missing out on? Which is also why the film camera that I choose to shoot on right now is a Polaroid camera. I get to see a moment, frame it up perfect, take the shot, and then 30 minutes later, I have a photo. So I actually get that instant gratification every single day, 30 minutes after I take a shot. If you've never done that before, I highly recommend it. It'll probably change your life forever. Before we move on, it's also super important to highlight that shooting on film saves you from yourself. You can no longer take a picture, look at it, find everything you did wrong and change it. You just get it to look right first, you take the shot, you walk away, and that's it. You let go. You don't obsess. You can't obsess, Sawyer. You can't come home with 1,400 photos to find 6. Now, the next topic people might not really know, but there's tons of different types of film cameras. There's a 35mm film camera, there's point and shoot film cameras, there's Polaroid film cameras, which are actually my personal favorite, and then there's something actually called a half frame camera, which shoots half of a 35mm piece of film and then stitches them together. Whereas like a normal roll of 35mm film might have 25 to 32 photos on it, now you'll actually get 72. So if you don't want to be spending tons of money, there are ways around it. It's fun, and more importantly, it's not nearly as expensive as you might think it is. So Polaroid film probably comes down to like maybe $2 a shot, and as you can see, I've shot tons of Polaroids on this trip. Yes, these are all memories, and I love them all. Traditional 35mm film comes down to like 50 cents a photograph. And in all honesty, if the moment you're trying to capture isn't worth 50 cents, it's probably not a photo worth capturing in the first place. But you'd never know that shooting digital because you probably took 50 shots of it just in case one looked cool. Even the cameras themselves are so much cheaper than digital. This Polaroid that I found at a vintage camera store in Hawaii took this photo, this photo, this photo, this photo, this, all of these photos. This camera cost me $170. It is from 1981. It has never been refurbished. It has never been serviced. It is completely messed up, and that is why I love it. Show me a digital camera that can capture moments that make people go, oh, wow, for under $200, and I'll rethink this whole film thing. And that brings us to the next point, and something that's really cool, especially with Polaroid cameras. You don't need a brand new camera or even like a fully working camera or perfect conditions to get great photographs. Both mistakes with what you're doing and errors with the actual camera and film create a style and look that, well, we download apps to try to get. If you look at these photographs, here, I'll put them on the screen. You can see there's lines in the actual photograph. I didn't visco that. I didn't use a lens distortion app. That's because the rollers in my camera have gone bad, and now, well, just like on this photo of me and Angelique at the beach, it gives it character. It gives it a vintage feel. It makes it feel like a real photograph that you found of your grandparents and you just can't believe it. We have a weird phenomenon now where our cameras shoot too crisp and too perfect, where we feel the need to download apps to try to scuff them up and make them look a little crappier because it's just too perfect. Why not just buy a cheaper camera and get that look for real? That way you don't have to choose which light leak you put on your photo because you didn't even expect it to be there in the first place. You simply took a photo, and when it developed, it was a happy accident. And film is all about happy accidents. But when you're shooting film, people don't ever think those photos are going to end up on Instagram or Facebook. Shooting on film actually allows people to continue being people so that you can photograph people being people, which is so rare these days. So rare. But as we're starting to wrap this video up, let's talk about photos being permanent, because it's something most of you probably don't even know about. And what I mean by this is, how many of the first digital pictures that you ever took do you still have? Were they on an old laptop that somehow got thrown out and you lost them? Were they on some phone that now doesn't work with iTunes and now you just don't have them? Or were they on some memory card or something, life happened and now you just don't have them anymore? Having a photograph that you can hold, hide, protect, and cherish, this is permanent. And if I was taking photos of my family or my newborn child or my puppy and those photos got deleted, I would forever regret that. How many times do we need to lose all the photographs that really matter to us before we realize we need something we can hold? When there's a fire, our parents usually grab photo albums and baby stuff first. We don't do that because we trust the cloud is going to keep them safe for us. But when has any cloud or technology thing ever not screwed us in the long run? Which brings us to the big reason a lot of right now professional photographers are not shooting on film. A lot of people think that by shooting on film, great, you have photos for a photo album, but hey, I need to keep up my Instagram feed. I'm shooting photos for a client. They don't want film. They need me to send them to them so they can put them on their website. I went to Best Buy, picked up a $60 photo scanner, and it scans all of my Polaroids perfectly. And then another little interesting thing actually happened. So then came the test of seeing if Instagram would disown me forever for switching to film. And that's where I was honestly really surprised. Well, the last photo I posted on Instagram was actually a film photo of a real Polaroid that was messed up, scuffed, had discoloration. It was by no means perfect. Well, when I posted that photo, I was quite nervous because I figured nobody would like it because it's just some old crappy photo. And compared to all the really crisp, beautifully vibrant pictures that are on Instagram, I just figured it would get lost. But that photo actually performed twice as well as the majority of my other photos. And I could not figure out why. But when I started reading the comments, people started talking about the moment, the moment, the moment, the moment. And that is when I fully started to realize that when it comes down to the sharpness or resolution of a photo compared to the actual moment that you're capturing, the moment always wins. I know 60 years from now, this is the photo that's gonna bring tears to my eyes. This is the photo that's going to take me down memory lane. This is the photo that I'm going to feel so proud and blessed that I chose to capture. But with film, there is a pride I can't even explain when I hold it. I created something that is real and cannot be taken away. It isn't data on a computer. It's something in my hands that I can take with me for the rest of my life. These moments are the magic of film. And these moments are the reason you need to be shooting on film as well. So what's photography all about for you? Leave it in a comment below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful people next week. Stay motivated, stay inspired, and never stop creating. Peace, guys.